Good afternoon, Brokers Playbook community. Good afternoon to all my brothers and sisters in the business. You're right back with your boy Simeon on another edition of the Brokers Playbook podcast, and I'm going to be bringing the fire this afternoon with a good friend, an ally in our business, somebody who's very seasoned, somebody who is very serious in their practice. I'm speaking of Phil Millar. Of Millar Law. They're centered out of Toronto, Calgary, and London, Ontario, a multidisciplined law office and practice. But I am going to have him speak to law tonight. So without further ado, I do want to bring Phil in, and we're going to be covering off some pretty hot topics. So I can't wait to have him log in. And I just see he just got into the stream now. Give me 1 second, family, and I'll just get him in. Mr. Millar, welcome to Brokers Playbook, my friend. How are you?
Good to see you, my friend.
Nice to see you,
Happy
sir.
to be invited on your famous podcast. I feel very privileged to be a celebrity today.
The pleasure and honor is ours. We're humbled to have you on. And I did a small interlude while you were logging in, just to speak a little bit about you. And I do want you to, of course, introduce yourself, but we're really happy to have you on, Phil. You have a very colorful background and story, which I do want to share with everyone because I think everybody's story matters, and it does make a big difference as to who we do business with, who we take advice from, and how we build our networks as professionals and as human beings in our own personal business, right? So again, Phil, welcome on. If you want to just give me the ABCs of who you are and a little bit about your practice in the law firm that you founded.
All right. So the caveat to your listeners is I'm a lawyer by accident. I was a combat officer in the Canadian military, served a bunch of tours, lost my eyesight, my right eye. They sent me to law school. I became a prosecutor, started putting too many innocent people in jail because their lawyers fucking sucked, and ended up starting my own law firm. And then now we have personal injury, family, select criminal defense cases, and we do corporate and real estate. I've always been in real estate, always invested in real estate. And, how we met is, you helping me make some solid money in real estate, and to speak to your point, in the units I was in the military, which were the special units, brotherhood, sisterhood, but character and integrity were fundamental in the environment that kind of forged my character. And, that's why I like working with people like you. And, another caveat is I really don't like most lawyers. Like, I don't find that they speak the language I used to speak. I feel like they're polite, not really into risk, don't really care about too many other people. So I wanted to create a law firm that represented the special forces units I served in, where people love their job, kick ass for the clients, who make good money. But it's not about pretending we're brilliant just because we got a law degree. It's about solving people's problems. So, I think that's a pretty quick estimate. I do a lot of investing and other business deals, but I love working with your team, and I like helping people when they have unusual problems that need imagination to solve.
Phil, we might have a little bit of technical issue. Do you know if it's on your end or is it my end?
You were freezing a bit there, but I seem to be okay.
Let's just pause quickly, and hopefully our editors can just match it up. Let me just switch my Wi-Fi quickly. I'm not on a LAN. Okay. It could be me. One second. Right. How's that?
Good.
So again, thank you so much for the introduction. I appreciate it. And just to speak, and for the kind words is kind of why I'm thanking you. But I don't think it's a coincidence that your practice. I've seen it. I've known you for about 2.5, 3 years, and I've seen you double the size of your practice in that time with expansions, with purchases and acquisitions of other law firms, and kind of cleaning out what doesn't work and making it your own by adding the right people, by adding the right attitude, and establishing the right culture. The reason I'm speaking to this is because culture, I've literally personally led our team effort and have doubled our team in the last 2 years from 25 agents to 50 agents. I think we're at 48 to be 100% to the number. But there's a reason this happens, and there's a reason people want to be around you. And I think speaking to that integrity that you just did, to be able to trust those around you, you have to know that they're there for the right reason. And if people aren't doing what they love, they're not there for the right reason.
Yeah.
So I think it's easy to see your passion. For anybody who knows you or gets to know you, you're a pretty passionate man for your practice and for life and for all the things that you stand for. So I like it. And I do want to get into some of those issues now, because we're seeing, again, a market blow up. And it's really busy. But when it's this busy and it's hot, things do get dangerous. So people are going to get hurt out there. The ones without the appropriate representation, advice, or education are going to get hurt, like they always do. The people who take their time, heed advice, and listen and respect the professionals in the field are going to win.
Yeah.
Phil, give me a little bit of insight as a real estate or mortgage broker. You're going to build relationships with your lawyers. You're going to build your custom team to give advice to your clients for due diligence, for many different things. What should a new or established real estate broker who's looking to put a lawyer as one of their partners on their team, what are the qualities? What questions would you ask if you were adding a lawyer to your firm? Or what questions should the broker be asking the lawyer that they want to put on their team to build a fruitful and long relationship?
I think, even prior to that answer, having worked with so many, I would just give a young person coming into the industry some advice that there is no easy money, and fast money results in fast bankruptcy or fast disbarment or fast loss of your family or fast prison time. So a lot of people have this urge to make as much money as quickly as possible, because what they see on Snapchat and Instagram all day is the Hollywood lifestyle. And so they want to get in, and then they kind of compromise. They're solid people, but they want that lifestyle fast. And then they see somebody who's successful and they think, oh, that guy's got it, so I just got to get there right away. They don't realize it's 10 years of fucking sweat, pain, failure, grinding the pavement, knocking on doors. But you can become a millionaire as a broker, whether it's real estate or mortgage, if you have the character and the work ethic. But it's not fast money. It's if you chase fast money, you're going to lose. But what you want to do is mentor under the right people who have integrity, who will take care of you, and learn and read every day. Like I have audible.com in my car. And if you're driving and you're a broker, you should not be listening to music or a dumb podcast. Like you should be listening to a great podcast like yourself, or listening to books on sales, networking, integrity, all of that stuff. So that's what I would say to them.
So it's really centered around mindset.
Yeah, it's a long run. Like to become a lawyer, it takes 8 years, and it's annoying, it's expensive, and most of the people suck. And then you get a degree, and now you got to work 5 years to make money. But you can start in an industry like mortgage or real estate, and if you just work for 10 years at 24, by 34, if you work your ass off, you can be a millionaire. But if you try to do it in 3 years by cutting corners, you're going to have no reputation. And in this industry, in all of our industries, people who know they can trust you, that's what matters, because anybody can do anything on their own, but they want to know they can trust you to take care of their finances, their home, or their legal stuff. So when you're hiring a lawyer, when these guys go to lawyers, often they just use whoever their buddy told them to use. You want somebody who complements your practice. You want somebody who's, this is the thing too in real estate. Real estate legal fees have been the same for 30 years. They really haven't moved with inflation, but housing prices have gone up 10 times or 20 times.
Yes.
So in the old days, an old lawyer would come out, he'd have yellow paper, he'd pull all out these documents out, he'd verify. Now we got title insurance, but some of the law firms are trying to do it the old way, and it's not efficient. Now there's some new law firms that are going digital that are trying to do things really fast because it's a fast market, but they're not paying attention to what the client wants. And it's resulting in deals going south. And a deal going south in today's market can cost your clients hundreds of thousands of dollars. So you want to meet the lawyer. You want to know that the lawyer has the technology to do things properly. And really, it's not even as much the lawyer. Lawyers want to think they're the most important thing in the world. It's actually the clerk, right? If you have the right real estate clerk, or the right real estate clerk teams, they're the ones who do 95% of the work. So you got these lawyers buying you drinks and bullshitting you, but it's that clerk who's going to do all the work to make sure your client's deal is done. So I would say interview the clerk. Get a relationship with the clerk. You, if you're the broker, take the clerk to lunch so that they take care of your clients when you need them to close. And then you still have that relationship, but you want a lawyer who's not a pencil-necked paper pusher. You want a lawyer who will drop everything if one of your clients is in trouble, make the calls, and get the deal done. But unfortunately, that's not what happened. They're just all paper pushers selling nonsense. So I think
I have definitely, in my experience, I have literally, I'm not going to say I've seen it all because nobody's seen it all, and I'm sure my eyes are going to bear some sight still. But I have definitely put through, I would say 5,000 deals thus far in my career, because we do put a significant volume of investors through into real estate, using the methods that we do. So I've seen lawyers choke. I've seen lawyers succeed. I've seen lawyers advocate and protect their clients to the death. I've seen the greatest, and I've seen definitely the worst. I've seen lawyers get charged out of a real estate deal, which is, I never thought it was possible.
And I'll give you a case in point. Stephanie Yates, who I think has been on your podcast, I was so impressed by her character and work ethic that I send her deals from Alberta all over Ontario, even though I'm surrounded by mortgage brokers. Because once you know you can trust somebody to work to get the deal done, you never leave them unless you have cause.
Well, what a shout out, and I'll endorse that shout out. Stephanie Yates is a personal friend of mine for over a decade. She's one of my personal financiers, meaning because I'm an investor first. I am extremely transparent. I do have 3 mortgage brokers that are very close to me that I respect the same, and I give all of them a fair turn at my referrals, and I try to match the best client, the best product to the whatever they're best at. But Stephanie Yates is a professional, is kind, is a great listener, all the qualities of a great broker, mortgage broker she has. So good for you for working with her, and I hope she, of course, pays you back tenfold with great business and a great trusting relationship to your personal adventures in real estate as well.
Let me jump on that point, because I found this with realtors. When they start, they want referrals, right? They just want referrals. And so it's like, hey, I'm going to send you business. You're going to send me business. I'm like, okay, look, punk, I've been doing this for a long time. When you're in trouble, you call me, I save your fucking life, right? If you think that, like, I don't deal with like tons of realtors, like, you want on your team, you want a special forces team to help you when the shit goes down. So if you're going around trying to trade referrals and all that, hey, I'm sorry, I'm swearing in front of the young lad there. I'll put some money in the swear jar.
At all. So in the age of COVID, and to our audience that can't see the video,
what's your son's name?
My 6-year-old son, his name is Gabriel, made a cameo.
Hey, Gabriel, come back here. Is your dad wearing pants right now? How's it going?
Is your dad wearing pants?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good. I just wanted to see if he dressed up for this podcast.
Thanks, Gabriel. You're a good man, buddy. You're a good man. Just going back to the point, and it's I just love what business has become, and that this is the craziness of family inside business has now become the norm. But sorry to
I love that. I said that before. Like, if the nice thing about Zoom is it reveals the real nature of people. Because if you take yourself too seriously, nobody will take you seriously.
Yeah.
So, like, we're humans trying to do what we got to do. You don't have to be. So that type of stuff's awesome.
No, you sure don't. And the truth of the matter is, I enjoy this more than ever. I know we're getting off topic, and I'm going to bring this back. But for my children to watch me conduct business, to hear so many of my conversations in this office while they were doing homework has really changed them. And we've never been closer, and I never knew that a 6-year-old can actually understand and respect so much where you always think they don't know, they're not listening, they're always listening. To watch a 6-year-old have comments and about real estate or about finance or excuse me, it's become quite entertaining, and it's pretty cool. Let's go back quickly, Phil, to where we were, and we were talking about the expectation of referrals and onboarding new people on your team. So as an agent, you said, I've been doing this for 10 years. You just started and you expect referrals. Let's talk a little bit about that expectation, and not only let's talk about the expectation. What should be the way to look at someone? So do I work with you and you never give me a referral because I'm not ready yet and you will in time? Or should I be working with somebody new, putting my clients in danger? What should I be focused on? Is it my business development? Is it my client? Is it both? What's your take on that?
I think you focus on working with people who you connect with, and you don't ask. So recently, for example, there's a big business guy in our area named John Drake. He owns a very exclusive golf course called Redtail. Everybody wants to get into it. I've known this guy for 12 years. I never asked. He's a billionaire. I never asked him for a penny. He used to be a lawyer. Every law firm wanted him to be special counsel. I just worked with him, but I never asked him for anything. And then he just joined our law firm as special counsel, even though every big firm wanted him, right? But the key was, so you don't ask for the referral. You don't ask for anything until you fucking earn it, right? And you earn it through showing your character and your integrity and your commitment to your client. I will send a realtor a referral when I see them walk away from a deal and the commission because it's in the client's interest. I won't send a deal to a realtor until I know that that's the type of human they are, because way too many of them try to force a deal to close because they got to pay their money, because they got short-term concerns over long-term reputation. So all I would say is find the best person to help you, then become your best self. And then once they get to know you, they're going to start sending, but you got to, well, from a cultural perspective, if you go over to Southern Europe or some places in the world and you try to talk business without having dinner with somebody for 3 hours and breaking bread, they'll kick you out of the house, right? It's the same thing as that, but just expanded a bit on a business.
And I mean, so let's talk about, so this is the thing. So we can talk about if you don't have dinner for 3 hours, we can talk about you getting Mr. Drake onto special counsel. And it's not just the integrity. It's the fact, I think the word, you can bring it into anything. The word is patience.
Yeah.
The word is patience. When you say, broker, you cannot put your short-term interests in front of your long-term reputation. We're asking for advice. You are here to give me insight, and you're giving the insight. And this is the insight. The insight is when you're looking to onboard a lawyer, when you're looking to do business development in your business. You mentioned Southern Europe because I'm Southern European. That everything that I do is centered around breaking bread, so much so that I have a nonprofit event centered around networking to everyone's advantage with no fixed agenda, where we literally break bread, meaning we eat and spend time together and try to put and create value first. Meaning, if I expect to come out of this evening, this podcast, feeling like a winner, I have to know that I was able to create value in your life.
Yeah.
I can't do that if I don't spend time with you, Phillip.
Yeah.
So going to a client, going to a new strategic partner, like a lawyer on your team, to a mortgage broker, to an appraiser, to anything, if you don't invest your time, if you don't take a moment and break bread and see who takes the last slice of pizza, how did that person reach for that slice of pizza? It's a human test.
No. You know what a good example is, I was thinking, and you captured that beautifully, but like if you want to earn it, like if you listen, so let's say you're working with a lawyer and if you listen to that, right? You don't ask them for a referral on the first day, but you listen to them, you talk to them, and you realize that they have an interest in something in this neighborhood, right? And then you bring them a deal that actually helps them or their family. Like that's the way that you can start to earn it. But if you're just there saying, hey, look at the fancy watch I borrowed, you know what I mean? Send me something, like, no.
I love that. I really appreciate speaking to mindset. I think As far as Broker's Playbook is concerned, my job here and my goal here is to give proper advice by using the insight, whether it's my experience or my guest experience and insight. I don't care where it comes from. I'm just not that selfish. It can come from anywhere, but I want our audience to win and take away a nugget that they can implement and resonate with. And I think the first 20 minutes of this podcast have really rung true around both the patience required to build a book of business, because that's what it all ultimately leads to, by building trusting strategic relationships with the right people.
Yeah.
So surrounding yourself with those right people are going to lead to those gains and to those successes, both emotionally to all of us individually, and of course in elevating the industry as a whole.
Yeah, whenever I talk to you, I always get goosebumps of some sort, because I know we're speaking on the same wavelength, and it's cool. But your observation about who takes the last pizza reminds me when I was in one of the tougher military courses. You know, when you make strong bonds, they last for life, right? And you would do anything for it. But I just remember we would be like on an exercise, no sleep for 3 days. We're told we have an hour's sleep until we do the next so everybody is exhausted, freezing, but we need water. And so there was like 24 of us left out of the 70 who started. But you could always see, like, when everybody needs to sleep and all of a sudden the sergeant said, hey, somebody's got to get water, some people would disappear and hide in the shadows, and some motherfuckers more tight would stand up and they'd go get the water, and you would die for those guys. Right. And if you're going to be
why? Because they would die for you.
Yeah. And if you're going to be a broker who gets people to send you $1 million deals, you have to be that solid. You can't be a fluff piece, right? Getting your eyebrows done and saying, hey, I'm amazing because I look fancy. Like, you have to be a solid human being, and you will be a millionaire.
Again, excellent closing to the playbook on mindset in building out your strategic book of business and your strategic relationships that are going to build your ultimate book of business. I appreciate that. Phil, I want to go into just a few pieces of business just to get your legal insight as to what's happening. The market obviously has jumped by 25% in the last year across almost the entire country, In the GTA, almost 35% in the last year and a half. So it's literally created overnight millionaires to those who choose to monetize it and sell, or to those who want to refinance and further their agendas and portfolios. But as brokers, as I said, when the market is this hot, when the market is this pumped, it creates a very dangerous environment to navigate. And if you've never been through this before, you can literally put yourself and your clients in a really bad position really quickly when millions are at stake. I want to talk a little bit about what I've seen across the development world. A large piece of my practice is centered in the new construction and pre-construction asset class, because the inventory in Ontario is so tight. So I focus on being able to service my clients with offerings that are not yet in existence, but I work with builders and developers to bring developments to the market and get them in the hands of my investors first. What I've noticed is it has not yet happened to me personally, but it has happened to my brothers and sisters in the business. And I know of at least a half a dozen instances. I have seen builders get their legal teams, some of the best and brightest legal teams in the country is who they get represented by, clean and naturally. But I have seen them try to find ways or do find ways to break deals that were sold 4 years ago. For example, a 2-bedroom condo for $500,000 that's now worth $750,000, $800,000, $900,000, depending on where it is. I have seen these sly, underhanded moves happen, and I'm talking in the last 30 days. I'm not talking about ancient history. I think I'm going to see it some more, and I hope I don't have to deal with it inside my own practice, but because of the volume that we have done, I am not so sure I'll be so lucky. I have seen these legal teams find ways to break the builder out of the deal so they can resell it, stealing the equity, literally pirating the equity out of the investor. What can we do as brokers to look for hints or clues? What can we do to prepare? How do we face something like, have you seen something like this in your practice? Because I know you're in 3 major Canadian markets. What have you seen? What is your comment?
You know, it's heavy, and I'm glad we can talk about it. And I'll share with you a story that almost is embarrassing to me, because I buy condos, but I bought one in the West London area. Pre-construction, I knew it was a good area. Prices went up, and then so we have like a kick-ass real estate department, and I was going to use my department, but I said, look, I want to try out one of these fancy Toronto firms, you know, one of the ones who just bought somebody. They say they're all digital. And so I told my team, I'm like, look, I'm going to do my own deal through these guys because I want to see their process to compare it to ours. Literally, that was not a good decision because I was busy. The deal's coming up to close. The money is not an issue. But they screwed up the deal. And so they sent the instructions late, and the dollars came a day late. And they tendered, they didn't close, and they resold for 150 grand more. So, you know, within it was probably 175 more, and it was 7 months, right? So that's a personal loss I took because I had somebody who was going to buy it, right?
That's insanity.
And the broker lost it. But where it gets really sticky is they do stuff, the lawyers on the seller side, they're doing stuff to kind of delay it. They're throwing like the instructions you said. So it's not overt. So it's not an easy lawsuit, right? What they do is they start requesting things, or they throw little wrenches into the system that a busy law firm where the lawyers aren't paying attention, a busy law firm that says, oh, we just do, you know, all digital, but you don't actually see the lawyer. The lawyer, you know, you couldn't find the lawyer on a Canadian legal dictionary anywhere, right? And then they can't respond to it. They don't know enough about what's happening to respond to it. The poor clerk is killing themselves trying to get it done, and you miss it. And the reason why there's some complacency there is because for the last 30 years, everybody would give an extension. There was never anybody who wouldn't give an extension. So the old business models of some of these law firms, they rely on, oh, well, if it's not done, we'll just get a 1-day extension. That's not fucking happening anymore.
What's the big deal, right?
Right? And they don't open up the real estate file until a week before closing. Right? Like at the law firm. So they're not on top of it. So what you guys can do is share it. The law firms need to know it because you could actually sue your own law firm if they screw it up and you lose the deal. But, you know, the evilness in it is that these developers who have a lot of money, they don't give you a break if their building costs go down. But if the building costs go up, they feel like they should be able to get out of it. It's just, they amortize the loss. You're right that they pirate or steal the wealth from the people who decided to invest, and it's criminal. But what you need to do is make sure you work with a damn good mortgage broker who's got their shit together. Like you don't just use your buddy's friend when you're investing. Like it has to be somebody who is good, and then make sure you're proactive. Because a lot of law firms make you feel like an idiot if you ask them, "Hey, what's going on with my deal?" And they're like, "But don't take that answer. Say I'm the customer. Give me a full feedback. Let me know what's happening."
I was kind of wrapping up the playbook on your advice. Is it maybe a good idea to implement a hard calendar fix, meaning go into my calendar 3 weeks prior to each close? I have an event, meaning call my lawyer, call my client's lawyer, and let them know that we have an upcoming closing, and you would expect a full analysis, update, projection on time for a statement of account, for an adjustment table, for everything, to have all parties prepared, ready, and knowledgeable by the time the closing comes.
This is circled beautifully. So where do you think I'm going to go? My first statement today was legal fees haven't gone up for 30 years, right? So that's kind of the obstacle. If brokers or people are shopping at the dollar store for real estate legal services, I would think that if you're buying properties worth upwards of $1 million, that you might make $150,000 off of it. You're not worried about $200 in legal fees.
No.
But unfortunately, that's kind of the culture, right? So yes, that should be demanded. And maybe law firms need to say, hey, look, we need to make sure this closes so you don't lose it. So it's going to cost double, right? Because, it's a lot of work to make sure all those things are done so that you get your property on time. And maybe I'm not saying it because I want to charge more, but I'm just saying the other thing I've done is like working with people like Stephanie. When she sends a file over, she sends all the documents, we immediately open it. And we do create these timetables that the clients are aware of. There's just a lot of old dinosaurs who aren't doing it, and they'll resent you asking that. But yeah. I think for your type of brokers who care about the clients and want to get it done, you can push the lawyer because you're sending them clients. You say, look, I want this to be done. I want to know the request for funds goes out late. The lawyers are always working on late timetables. You just say, look, you want my business, you've got to come up with a schedule like you've just outlined, or I'm going to take it to somebody who can get it done. But you also have to be prepared to pay a bit more probably because
but see, Phil, I don't think that's a illogical request. And if they're going to get upset about it, you're working with the wrong guy.
True.
And it's no different than what you should expect from your real estate broker, from your mortgage broker. If you don't expect the best client service, you're cutting yourself short. That's been our stance on the marketplace. That's how we, meaning myself and my business partner, have taken down, the thousands of brokers that were ahead of us a decade ago. We're sitting at a very comfortable and blessed place now. In the way we did it and the way we will continue to stay there is by delivering what we think is exceptional service, is an exceptional value proposition. We do not cut our fees. So when you were saying, do I want to charge more? You should charge whatever you're worth.
Yeah.
So in the people who understand your value are going to be lined up at your door. And I don't want to make this conversation a protect your commission conversation or your fee conversation, because I actually think that's a huge one, and maybe that will be coming up. Maybe we'll do a panel in all the whole team, meaning the appraiser, the inspector, because people. It's hard not to go off on tangents.
Oh my God. If you go to the dollar store for a home inspector, a broker, and a lawyer, like that shit's going to break in 3 days.
Just hear me out. You think lawyers getting undercut is bad, or us being asked to give a return of commission of half your commission, but the home inspector, the guy that you rely on to make a decision in one afternoon, to move forward on an $800,000 purchase. People are literally negotiating a fee from $499 to $349 to $299. I have never in my life allowed the conversation to take place. It's like going to a tattoo artist and trying to cut a deal before you get tatted up. So let me tell you, man, it's people.
You know what would be interesting one day is to kind of pool all of the costs with your team. Right? Like, so if somebody comes to you, they have to use your home inspector, who you make sure they have to pay well, and they have to use a lawyer, and maybe you charge, something, I'm just brainstorming, but you charge a bit more, but then they make sure they're getting top quality at every level, and people aren't worried about that stuff.
And that's just it. So I'll give a shout out to Carson Dunlop, a company that's been doing inspections, both commercial and residential, forever and a day. But I literally haven't worked with one of their inspectors. I've never had one contact that I wasn't like, these guys are the best. They are the best. Have people had bad experiences? I'm sure they have. But in my 15 years and hundreds of transactions or thousands of transactions later, I don't think it's a coincidence they have the reputation that they do. I don't think the lawyers that I use, including yourself, I don't think the brokers that I use, including the people we mentioned, everybody is so, and that comes with experience. And I think as a final wrap up, Phil, I want you to tell me your take on exactly that. What do you suggest that our industry needs to do to ensure a higher level of service and standard of service as a whole?
If we're talking real estate agents and brokers,
yes, please.
I think they should all get elite courses on negotiation, because the clients that you guys serve get upset if they're charged $7 more at a restaurant. And yet when they are in a place of emotional vulnerability because they want that house, they often leave tens of thousands of dollars on the table because it's easier to close the deal by churning the client. And I think if you want to have the best reputation, you want to be the best fucking negotiator in the world so you can get that person the most money. It's just hard to do now, but it's going to change. But you need to understand human behavior, and you need to be able to fight for every penny for your client because, you know, they'll repay you with referrals for a lifetime.
Phil, give me one book recommendation, something that's made a difference in your trajectory, something that's made you a better human being and a better lawyer.
You know, I've got about 800 books on Audible that I like, but the most recent one that affected me in some of my business is Peter Thiel's From Zero to One. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but he helped start PayPal. All of his board members run billion-dollar companies. But what he says is too many people are just trying to make something better, and they're not using their imagination, and they don't have the courage to make something new. So look at an industry and don't go from 1 to 2. Create something new and take something from 0 to 1 and change your industry, change the way you interact, do something that requires some balls and that you can be proud of later in life.
All right. Well, I thank you for that recommendation. I appreciate it. I haven't even heard of the book.
Oh, it's amazing. 0 to 1. You'll change your business.
Well, you're a man who has given me a book before, and one of my favorite books. We'll leave that right there. But
Yeah.
I will definitely take your recommendation on this, and I will download it. I am an avid Audible downloader because I run on net zero time, unfortunately. So the time in my truck is my time, and that's where I get my the University of Highway 401, I like to call it. So I try to maximize my time and good intake into the brain, and I recommend everybody do the same. Phil, thank you for being a part of Broker's Playbook. Thank you for being here tonight.
Simeon, I'm sorry that Greece couldn't make it to the finals like my team England that will destroy Italy on Sunday. God bless you for your fan base.
Euro 2020 in 2021, everyone. We just timestamped this one. Good luck to England and good luck to all the Italy fans. I am not in this one, and I actually do love both teams. I don't have a favorite with my team not being in it. I was really excited to see both these contenders get into it. I think we're going to be in for a treat.
Beautiful.
Phillip Millar, you're a good man. Thanks again. Over and out.
See you, brother.